Good afternoon. Call the Warren County Election Board meeting to order. It's August 11th. On your agenda, we have first the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review the July 14 minutes? And do we meet with your approval?
I have.
Yes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, July 14th.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye. Motion carries. Old business. The last meeting, we voted to authorize a move of Freehold Township's polling location from the township building to the Wrightsville Fire Department. However, since then, we have received two letters, both of which are attached, one from John Martin, one from Wanda Johnson. We also held a town hall meeting in Freehold Township regarding the polling place move. And I believe the recommendation of the elections office, now having gone through the public review process, would be to keep it at the municipal building.
That's correct.
For those of you that were not at that meeting, it was one of the more lively meetings I think that we've been to in a while. But yeah, there were real concerns raised with the current location, but I believe that all of them were adequately addressed. There was some discussion regarding the standard by which we expect a polling location to live up to. And we have, Lisa, the elections director, has created over the years a list of requirements, so to speak, that we're looking for in a new polling location. But since this one had been there before that requisition form, it had not really gone through that process. So we're doing two things today, I think. The first is taking the prerequisite form that you've developed and codifying it and making that the actual rule going forward so that there's no miscommunication as to what we expect in a polling location. And then the second thing would be to move the location, or at least authorize, I guess, the move. We will countermand the last resolution, which was to move it and instead keep it at the municipal building. Do you want to say anything else, Lisa?
No, I mean, we just want to do what's best for the citizens of Freehold. They were, I mean, we had people wanting us to move it, and then we found out there was many more that didn't want us to move it for safety reasons or whatever. So I'd say we're going with what the citizens of Freehold Township are requesting of us or wanting of us for their polling place.
And in turn, we're setting expectations for what a polling place should do, which I think is an improvement overall.
Right. Exactly. You know, the cleanliness, providing the basic needs of folks that are not only working at the polling place, but visiting the polling place to vote and things like
So
that.
at the end of the day, it was a win-win, despite a rocky start.
Yeah.
It's a fair assessment.
So do we need to make a motion then?
Well, why don't we take it as two motions? First, supposed to countermand the move in the July 14th meeting, and therefore keep the polling location for Freehold Township at the municipal building. That would be motion number one.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Jeff, we didn't give you a chance to talk to.
No, I think that the response from Freehold Township was a very good one, and it created a lot of good discussion, and I think that as a result, the outcome will be better for the people of Freehold.
I don't think I've had that good a representation at a town hall meeting ever.
Yep.
Well, you want to get some attention to the polling place.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Not very bad.
Anything further that needs to be said on this motion? Very good. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, a motion to approve the elections and voter registration procedure number 1, which is related to requirement. I'm sorry, this would actually be number 5. So we already have the. Yep, we have general municipal, general presidential, and primary. Yeah, this will be be number 5.
Yep.
So procedure number 5 related to requirements for polling locations, and subsequently authorize the Director of Elections to create forms and work instructions related to said procedure at their prerogative. Do I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'd really like an opportunity to review all of these in more depth before voting on them. I'm sure that they're fine. I think that given the history of these, it would be good to be able to sit down and read through them in detail.
Motion to table, is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, all those in favor of tabling, please state aye.
But,
Motion is tabled.
and with the idea that, maybe we'll have another one of these in 2 weeks, we can go at that.
Okay. Is there anything else to come before the elections board? Okay, hearing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
A second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, we are adjourned. At this time, we'll call the Commissioners' meeting of August 11th to order. I ask that everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance immediately following a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded. Since the last time the board met, we spent some time together at the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, but have not had any official executive sessions that I can recall. Correct? Very good. Correspondence to bring before the public. One thing, we signed a support letter on behalf of the request of the WCCBI for modifications to the Jake's Rocks grant. And also the library has submitted a letter to us that I would bring to your attention requesting some ARP funds. I believe that was pertaining to the build out the existing grant that we haven't done. Any other comments, correspondence? Very good. Any public comment at this time? Not the vast number of public here. All right, the agenda today you see before you. Minutes from July 28th. Any amendments, corrections? Hearing none. Finance report.
One of the things I submitted to you for finance report was the request for the ARP funds from various agencies, municipalities. Do you want to see those in your packet at each month? Because I've just been keeping a folder and I know I have some that you may not have seen. So,
We could talk about the process by which
Okay.
we log those later, I guess.
sounds good.
Probably better to come to a work session.
Okay. Also, we do have to put together a budget for that by the end of the month to report to the feds. So just so you're
Oh,
aware.
okay.
Yeah, a tentative. As of Monday, we had $1,843,773 in both the general fund account and our savings account. We have borrowed $2.5 million from $2 million from the tax anticipation and $500,000 from the savings account, which is the exact same amount of this time last year that we had borrowed. We still have the rescue fund money. We are working on getting the line items for that put into the code so we can spend some of these items. And the ERAP funding is sticking tight. It hasn't moved very much, so I don't know if there's not need or if there's something more we should be doing with that. Also, I sent you out P&L
I can just tell you from private practice and what I've seen is that with the CDC renewing the eviction moratorium, there's going to be continued need for these kind of funds, and continued public information is probably appropriate. It's out there to assist both tenants and landlords. So anything the county can do to help.
So just for everybody's information, we've run ads every week. We run inserts in the newspaper. We have radio ads running. So there's been, I'm correct, right?
Yes.
I was getting this. So that'll be running for like a month. It's the largest ad campaign I think we've ever ran. So it's definitely, there should be an uptick relatively soon, I would think. And I agree with Attorney Schmidt that with the moratorium extension, my assumption is that the landlords on a larger scale will probably continue to try to reap the benefits of the program.
Yeah, it's difficult because I think there's a disconnect sometimes between when people find themselves in the middle of that dispute and then this option, that funds are available is just something that's never been there before that they can go look at. So that's good points by Commissioner Eggleston.
And in the advertising, I'm assuming that we're including landlords in it. I mean,
It's very clear.
Is it very clear?
As far as
Okay.
all of the stuff that's included in it is taken directly from EOC and what they put out on their
Okay.
form. It includes who's eligible. They're still getting a lot of requests.
Oh, are they?
And they're putting out a lot of money. The issue is you're starting with $2.5 million. That's a lot of money in rent,
Of rent.
here to disperse. Now, granted, I know that the deadlines have continued to be extended as far as when they have to disperse the money. At some point, we'll have a conversation here about alternative programs that we could potentially create in order to utilize the money. We didn't do that initially because we just wanted to give it at least 2 or 3 months to see how it would go. So,
Okay, thank you. Anything else for fiscal?
That's it.
Human resources.
Human Resources report as of August 1st, 2021. New hires for the county include Stephanie Shumsey at Human Services on July 19th, 2021. We had no changes within the county. The separations include Richard Fisher from the Sheriff's Department on July 13th of 2021 and Persephone Hopkins from Public Safety on July 4th, 2021.
Good, thank you. You'll notice the monthly reports. I'd like to give you a moment just to review those. No proclamations on the agenda for this month. This time I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
a second.
All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. There's no old business on the agenda. Today, for new business, first we have a consulting agreement with Carl McKee. Background on this agreement. Carl was, of course, the adult probation chief for many years. He retired, I believe, yesterday or today was officially his last day. And at the same time, Aaron Huber, who we had previously contracted with to provide grant writing for the Criminal Justice Advisory Board, has resigned. Therefore, this board thought it would be a good fit and produce some continuity if we turned around and hired Carl to continue to do some of the grant writing and administration. The only textual changes I made to this agreement have to do with the approval, because previously the CJAD chair signed off on timesheets, as Carl is still the CJAP chair and would be submitting timesheets. I changed that to me to sign off, so he wasn't signing off on his own timesheets. And there was a minor increase of hourly rate to match his current hourly rate rather than the lower rate that Mr. Cooper was at. Again, this will be a 1099 position, and currently he has agreed to stay on with the county as the CJAP writer and the CJAP chair, and the judges kept him on as a DUI coordinator, and with that comes all the equipment that would be needed to continue, such as a phone line, I believe, an email address, a county-owned laptop, etc. So this will really not cause any real difference from a technology standpoint or an access standpoint, since the judge is keeping him on as a DUI coordinator. Any questions from you regarding this? Hearing none, I would ask for approval of the agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve the consulting agreement with Carl McKee.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have a tax bid. This is Sierra Hotel 355-885400-000, currently owned by Maurice R. Dickey in Sheffield Township. It is assessed value of $1,100. It was bid on for $550 by Josh Spice as an agent for El Porto LLC. Would ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the repository property bid.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, language access plan for limited English proficiency persons. And I believe for that, I'll turn it over to our grants administrator, Lori Dunlap.
Okay. As part of our annual CDBG application program, and because we receive federal dollars at all, in order to avoid discrimination against persons who live within the county who speak English less than very well, we have to agree to put public notices excuse me, in a language that some of our residents speak, specifically in Sugar Grove Township and Freehold Township. More than 5% of the population in those two townships, which is the threshold for CDBG action or taking this action, speak English less than very well. They speak Pennsylvania Dutch. So when I put public notices in, sometimes I have to put the whole notice in Pennsylvania Dutch, sometimes just a blurb on the bottom of one saying that they can get more information from me. The plan that I gave you just says Freehold Township. I put that together back in May, and after thinking about it, that I got some updated information, and Sugar Grove Township was also included. So I gave Pam a new one that has Sugar Grove Township in there for you to sign. So it's both of those municipalities. Freehold, 11% of their population speaks Pennsylvania Dutch, and in Sugar Grove Township, 5.8% speak Pennsylvania
That's
Dutch.
determined through the census.
This is, yeah, determined through the census. So depending on the project, if it involves either of those townships directly, then I'll put the ad in all in Pennsylvania Dutch, or we can provide translation for them depending on how involved the project is in their municipality. So just so everybody gets a fair stab at it. Any questions?
I've seen an ad or two run in Pennsylvania Dutch in the newspaper.
By me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so when I did our first CDBG for the year, saying the county's gonna get this much money, are there any projects out there anyone wants? Because someone from, or Sugar Grove Township or Freehold Township could ask for the money,
Sure.
so put it in that.
How did it get constructed? Do you have someone do it?
Who creates
Yeah, that's
it?
it.
You know, I used to use Google. You can change it to a language, but all they had was High German.
Yeah.
And so I used that for a few years, and then some other CDBG grantee within probably down towards Lancaster, got a hold of someone, an Amish person, to translate them, and so they shared them with me.
Oh, great.
So
That's very interesting. Thank you.
it's quite different, because ich spreche Hochdeutsch, or Bayerisch, speak some German, but the High German mostly. And it is not at all the same.
Interesting.
Not at all the same. So this plan is just saying that we will do that. We will adhere to the guidelines. If it's required to be put in Pennsylvania Dutch, we will. Any questions? Josh? Okay, thank you.
Very good. If there are no further questions, I'd ask for a motion to approve the language access plan for limited English proficiency persons.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next on the agreement is the Transit Authority Warren County agreements for the MATP services. Nathaniel Schmidt, our solicitor, sent an email earlier requesting some changes at this juncture. I believe we have three options: either table it to the next meeting, approve it with your as is, or approve it with your edits, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I remember reviewing it, I sent us a final email before the meeting. I reviewed this in 2019 and found even more edits. The talk, obviously, they perform some really important services, so I just look at the key terms. There were edits I made in 19 that I didn't request this time. I can recite those here, or I would say to either, I would take option 3 out, but either just accept it as it is, or you can vote on it the way it is now.
Okay. If they're not substantive,
The changes didn't look like line, so I don't think
there was that this time, but you had other things where they substantive.
It's all, it's the whole harmless clause, so you're just dealing with standard attorney business where you're just trying to negotiate, coverage and liability, and that's all.
Okay. So at this time, you didn't think that it's so significant that we couldn't vote on it?
I made my recommendation, and at least as the one in it. And so there's one sentence in there I would just include, or I would take out.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the agreement with the one sentence stricken, which was what again?
It's the one, I think it's the third sentence.
Nothing in this agreement or this section shall be construed as a waiver of any of the talks immunity protections as provided pursuant to the Pennsylvania Political Subdivision Court Claims Act.
It's for the one beginning with further.
Further, any such identification shall be limited by provisions of talk governmental immunity protections.
Correct.
Okay.
I doubt that they would have any issue with it, but is there a concern that if we change it, we could send it to them, that they'll have an issue with it? Why not?
Then it would have to come back and we have to vote on it.
I mean, if we're good, this is a technical discussion. By deleting it, what I'm trying to avoid by leaving it in, an argument that some counsel for talk would argue that they have no indemnification duties toward the county because they themselves have done that.
Do we know if there's a deadline on accepting this document?
I can tell you back in 2019, we proposed edits that were accepted without problem.
Well, just to continue to keep this moving forward, would we, I think I would recommend that we go ahead and change the language as the attorney has mentioned, and then send it to them to see if it's acceptable.
Okay, I'll take that as a motion to approve the contract for transportation services between Warren County and Transit Authority and Warren County Commissioners. Striking further, any such identification shall be limited by the provisions of talk and governmental immunity protections. Do I I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Last, resolution 3,186. I gave you a fresh copy. Although all the fresh copy does is add some things for other people to do. So this resolution does several things. First, at our last meeting, we approved a vehicle use policy. However, failed to give it a resolution number. That was my oversight. Therefore, I'm throwing it in here, although it's already approved, to give it a resolution number. Next, it approves the onboarding employees procedure, which is the way that we currently do it, which is why I'm comfortable bringing it to you without much review, simply to codify what is. If you would like to make changes going forward, we're certainly open to hearing those recommendations. But again, this is kind of the status quo, so it is what we currently do, and it gives us a basis to start editing and improving the system. Same thing goes for filing insurance claims, which is HR procedure number 6, which is also before you. Again, this is the way it currently is, and I would like to approve those 2 procedures today. And again, if in the future we have any recommendations on how to make the system better, then we'll go through the pre-approved CAPA. And then next, the next part of the resolution gives authorization to the chief clerk to approve, edit, and implement any work instructions, forms, or related documents to the vehicle use policy. So we set the policy that is overall, but if the chief clerk would like to make changes, for instance, to the vehicle use mileage log, it does not need to come before this body. The chief clerk has the authorization to sign off on new versions and keep them current as she sees fit. Same thing for the next section, which goes to the Director of Finance Administration. She is hereby authorized and given the directive to write, approve, and implement the following work instructions, forms, and related documents: onboarding workflow, job posting form, application form, background check authorization form, employee offer letter, onboarding packet, the payroll transaction form, the employee requisition form, workers' compensation claim work instruction, the workers' compensation claim form, the vehicle insurance claim work instruction, vehicle insurance claim form, property damage insurance claim work instruction, the property damage insurance claim form, and a certificate of insurance request. So again, we approve the overall policy and procedure, but authorize the Director of Finance Administration to manage all of those work instructions, forms, workflows, etc. At the will of that office, so that it doesn't need to come before this body again. Does all that make sense? Very good. Any questions for me?
This is another situation where I would really prefer to read through all of these in advance of voting on them. So I'm not sure if, it's like, would it be preferable? I prefer to vote on the original resolution, approve the ones we've already read and approved, and then have this for the next meeting in 2 weeks so that we have time to read through what's been brought to the table.
So I'll state again that this is the way that it currently is. We're not making any changes to the status quo. This is the unwritten, so to speak, policy that we've been following for years/decades. And the point of the government management system is first to catalyze what is and then improve it. So if you'd like to, we could buck the system and edit things now. But I would not want to table, to gut the resolution at this point. If you want to table it, that's fine. Table it now with the whole thing and bring it back to the next meeting.
I'm fine with that. I just, again, the idea is just to be able to read through everything, so that I understand everything that's being proposed.
Okay, I'm hearing a motion to table resolution 3,186.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. It's not non-debatable. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That's it for the agenda. Any commissioner comments? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.